Hey guys, welcome to Let's Tham, which literally means let's talk in Southern Vietnamese. This is a totally new segment on our channel, IELTS with Datio. So Let's Tham hopes to be an avenue for all of us to hold discussions on topics that are relatable to you guys, and also a place for us to engage and voice our opinion so that we can have a better understanding of the world around us and also learn ways to appreciate individual differences more. And in this very first episode of this series today, I'm joined by this very special guest, Chimi. So, hi, please welcome Chimi.
Hello guys.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, how have you been?
I'm great. So, what is this?
Our topic for today.
Really?
Here, let me give you some to try.
Okay. Let me have a sip.
Okay, what is it?
It tastes like green tea.
And what's green tea in Vietnamese?
Dasam.
So the topic for today is
Cheating. Why cheating though? Like, why this topic?
Right. So the reason why we decided to talk about infidelity is because it's an extremely common act, but so poorly misunderstood, you know? Right? And it could affect literally anyone. Could, breaks the toughest hearts, could shatter the most well-respected relationships, or could even ruin the biggest stars, career and reputations. Yep. So, when you enter a relationship, it's very naive to think that you are immune to cheating, to adultery, right? There's always a chance. So basically, this is for everyone who has ever loved.
That's a nice introduction. And
Thank you.
So could you enlighten me on the definition of cheating? Because that concept seems kind of obscure to a lot of people.
Right. Yeah, it's tough because there's no universally agreed upon definitions for cheating. And I bet there is much more to infidelity than just the quintessential examples, such as, sleeping with someone, right? So one of my favorite definitions is that cheating is an act of betrayal. And betrayal, it's a violation of a person's trust. So when you and somebody become an item, right, you signed an unspoken contract, like a sacred promise. Right? That you will not shift your emotional focus elsewhere.
Yeah.
And once you've broken that promise, to me, you're a qualified cheater.
And would you agree with me that there's this common thread among all the incidents of cheating, which is the element of secrecy?
Without a doubt. It's one of the central part of cheating, yes.
So all these, incidents happen in the dark, without your partner's knowledge. Right?
For sure.
And some examples of cheating.
Right. What are you thinking about?
I'm thinking, like, the first thing that comes to mind is obviously the image of a person engaging in sexual acts with another person.
Yep.
On a physical level.
Right.
Like, it could be with someone that you know, your friend,
right.
Or sex with an ex. Right? And
Kinky.
Or it could be with like a sex worker. Prostitution in this case.
Yeah, so I think we can categorize, into two different subtopics of cheatings, right?
Yeah.
One, it's with those who
Yeah.
right? It's physical cheatings for sure, the old school type of cheating. But the other, whether it's with like a massage with a happy ending or God forbid, prostitutions, right? It's the second type of cheating.
Okay.
You spend money.
Right, so that's with, like touching and stuff.
Right.
But then how about when it comes to emotional cheating? Like maybe when you rekindle a relationship with your ex, or like, I don't know why I keep mentioning exes, right? Or just develop an emotional connection and romantic feelings for someone without really acting on those feelings.
Yeah, right. As we were discussing, cheating doesn't always have to involve, physical acts, right?
Yeah.
It could be emotional. So, again, you can classify them into, two categories. Emotional cheating with someone who you know,
Yeah.
right? Or Fantasies.
Oh, fantasies.
Can you think of an
Like-
example for fantasies?
Pornography?
Right, like pornography. You know, some people watch porn and think that's cheating.
Oh.
Or maybe you see a beautiful girl in a cafe and you think about kissing her, right? Just the thought could be as powerful as, you know, a
The
real
act.
kiss itself.
Ah, okay, because it arouses you
Right.
when you're not supposed to have those feelings.
For sure.
Okay, and how about when you like chat, exchange messages,
Yeah.
like flirtatious messages with someone through like social networking apps,
Yeah.
right? Nowadays,
That's-
it's
yeah.
very like prominent.
Yeah, it's getting more and more popular these days. The new type of cheating, cyber cheating.
Oh, okay. So I
Yeah.
just hit.
You just
hit
hit
the
all
point.
five, right?
Yeah,
because
so-
you know now it's getting more and more challenging to detect cheating,
Mm-hmm,
right? You know, back in the day, there's concrete proof like a child, but now you can chit chat online, or you can remain secretly on dating apps that I'll
Yeah.
never use, guys. Never used before.
I've stopped using dating apps for a long time.
right.
Because it's for me, it's a waste of time, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, I prefer meeting the one in real life. So yeah.
That's sweet.
So guys, let's move on to the $1,000,000 question. Why do people cheat? So I believe that a lot of our viewers, including ourselves, have been on the receiving end of the act of cheating. So if we were to survey our viewers, I believe that we could be potentially looking at like 1,000,000 different reasons for cheating.
Right. But have you ever experienced cheating, or do you have any personal story to tell us?
Well, I do. I do. So before we even get into the technicalities of the reasons, I'll share my stories first. So it's not my personal story per se, but it's my best friend's story. So I don't want to reveal his true name, his real name. So let's call him Dave then.
Okay, Dave.
Okay, so Dave, sorry Dave, whoever names Dave there. So my friend Dave, he's currently living in the States, okay? And he used to be in this 5-year long distance relationship with a girl in Vietnam. And you may ask, like, why would he date a person that is so far away, thousands of miles away? Because he's always been into like traditional girls in Vietnam, and he couldn't really find people like that in the States. So he always dated Vietnamese girls, and they were happy together for about 3 years, and then things started to kind of fall apart. So they would call, they would FaceTime each other every night for hours. They were very happy, and then things started to change when a new person came into the picture. Right? So that was her colleague. So they were working together, and this new guy would take her home, would give her a ride home every night after work. And over time they kind of developed this emotional connection. And also my friend started to notice things had gradually started to change between them, and their conversations were cut short by the girl. And so he felt that, oh, maybe something was going on.
Right.
But then after that, he kind of found out that because she would rather end it quickly so that she could hang out with the other guy. And then it just really broke him. It devastated him. And, eventually they didn't work out. And so that, for me, is considered cheating. And so, yeah.
Yes, I mean, from your story, we can see that. I think the situation, it's the big rationale behind breakups, right? I mean, long distance is one of the most common situational factors that
Yeah.
could lead to
It's
infidelity,
one of the biggest factors.
right? Or maybe she's searching for a sense of novelty. Yeah, maybe that's what she was
Yeah, so
looking
it's
for.
always
You said 5
exciting.
years, right?
5 years. So it was exciting for the first 3 years, and then it started to go downhill from there.
All right, 5 years apart, that's a long time.
Yeah.
Right? And that's interesting because your story reminds me of one of my friends' past relationships, which is completely opposite to Dave's.
How so?
Because, this guy had dated the girl for 2 years before the affair, but, they were colleagues. So they saw each other every day. They talked to each other every day, and they were in a seemingly happy relationship. That at one point they were even engaged. right? But then in the aftermath of the affair, right, my friend told me that his ex-fiance, right, oftentimes was very interested in the sophisticated discussions and would request him to share his intellectual thoughts with her, right? Which, for which sometimes he's infertile. He's unable to produce, right? Right.
Good pun there.
Yeah, no pun intended. Anyways, so the wake up moment was when he met another girl who, did not burden him and did not make him question his intelligence. Oh. Yeah, so eventually they exchanged some flirtatious Facebook messages that later got found out by the ex-fiance, and that was the demise of their relationship.
All right.
Yeah, so
was that the only reason though?
Oh yeah, and also they weren't sexually compatible, so I guess it's unmet demands from both ends.
So it could be spiritual, intellectual, sexually demands.
Anything
not
else?
Met. I think, how about money? Money is a big problem.
Finance.
I mean, like,
sure.
People should consider it part of the equation when it comes to a relationship, because it's hard to survive without money nowadays. So it should be something that you put into, you take into account.
Right.
So I have this story of another friend of mine, a good friend of mine, Ben. Let's call him Ben. Ben, and it has to do with the finance side of the relationship.
Yeah.
So basically he and his ex, so they were a gay couple, guys, and they were working in the same company. That's how they met. And at first they didn't like each other, but then they started to fall in love over time, and they moved in with each other. They lived together. They were happy for about 2.5 years. And let's see. After that, things started to change on the other guy's part. So that was when they both got into real estate as a new career. So they changed careers. And then his then boyfriend started to, have meetups, and he would work with his wealthy clients and, a lot of businessmen, all the elites, all right? And then I think, that certainly had an influence on him. And, he eventually he had a change of heart.
Right.
And he dumped my friend.
Oh.
So that was like the classic example of, leaving someone for money. And it's so classic. And he found out that, that was going on for a while, even before they broke up.
Poor Ben.
Yeah, I hope it's okay now.
Oh gosh.
But he had to work at the same company with his ex for a while, and every time they cross paths, it just, it was so awkward.
Right.
Yeah.
Must be.
It took a long time for him to move on.
Yeah. There were a lot of ass kissing in your story. Pun totally intended.
Oh yeah, ass kissing. So yeah. So yeah, I think he told me that his ex was he's together with one of his clients now.
Oh, gosh.
That's a bit scandalous.
Yeah, so the unfulfilled desires, right? The unmet demands. Yeah, it's one of the main causes of infidelity.
So unmet demands,
sense of novelty.
Novelty, situational factors. Are there any other reasons?
Right, yeah. I mean,
have you done any survey?
For sure, I did, right? I did a quick survey with my friends and my coworkers, and interestingly found out that, some people cheated out revenge, right? Or maybe they're seeking, some new feelings. They want to feel the butterflies in their stomach again, right?
They want to feel alive again.
Right, exactly.
The chemistry just kind of fade
away, and things became more routine. Right?
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah, especially for long-term couples, right? And on the other side of the spectrum, some people cheated as a way of self-sabotage, so that their partner noticed and respond to things that they have been trying to say for too long, right? And as absurd as it sounds, it's their way of, you know, saving the relationship of some
Probably
kind.
because they don't feel heard or
Yeah.
listened to or appreciated,
Yep,
right?
exactly. Right.
So I have this kind of controversial question. Which gender do you think cheat more?
Do you really have to ask? You know, well, as much as I hate
To admit.
yeah, I must admit that our team has to take a big L on this one, right?
Yeah.
Because, you know, historically speaking, men have been way more notorious when it comes to cheating than women. And we back it up with all sorts of scientific, you know, evolution or biological theory that, you know, we are the natural roamers or monogamy is not for us. Right.
And I think I have this piece of evidence to back this up. So studies have shown, guys, that the sex-related part of the male's brain is actually 2.5 times bigger than that in the female's brain. So that could explain, you know, the male's propensity to engage in sexual misconduct or sexual affairs with other people.
So how about females?
Well, for females, they have traditionally, historically been the ones in the household to birth and nurture children. So they tended to look inward and, you know, take care of the family and just be more family oriented and be more loyal in a sense.
Yeah, and especially in an Eastern culture like Vietnam, right? A lot of women have been taught since birth that, you know, they are these domesticated creatures and, you know, the backbones of the family. So the consequences of cheating, infidelity, are much more severe to women. And to be honest, I'm not a fan of such gender inequality.
It's pretty unfair to women. I mean,
Right.
it just seems more acceptable for men to cheat, and that needs to change.
So I want to ask you an honest question,
Okay.
right? If that ever happens to you, can you forgive a cheater?
As hard as it is to do so, I think everyone deserves a second chance, and no one is infallible in this life.
Right.
I may make a mistake sometimes, you know, in the future. Who knows? So I think if it was to happen to me, I would try to give my partner a chance to prove that they have changed.
Right. Okay.
But it's harder. It is easier said than done.
Right, because, you know, some people say that once a cheater, always a cheater.
And it may be the case for me. I mean, I've been cheated on before, and after that, the relationship just kind of, it was doomed. And I never found a way to trust that person again. And, you know, it didn't work out in the end. So
Right.
maybe it could work out for some of you who can find a way to move on from what has happened, but it's not for everyone, I think.
Okay, so you have one shot at redemption, right? Like a one-strike policy.
Yeah, it's like not even redemption. You have one chance, like, to make this work. If you ever make a mistake, it's a fatal mistake.
Right.
Yeah. So for me, it's like that.
Yeah, like a broken mirror. It can
Yeah,
never
so
be
like,
the same.
For a lot of my friends, they would not give the other person a chance to redeem themselves.
Okay.
So Jimmy, I have a question for you. So if
Yeah?
this were to happen to you, with your, with your experience in this department, how would you heal from this?
My friend's experience, guys. All right, but I think that the healing process necessitates efforts from both sides, right? For the perpetrators, I think first of all, they have to acknowledge the affair.
Yeah.
Right? Because if they try to deny, to minimize, or worse, try to justify the affair, and then I think the relationship, it's irreparable at that point, right? And then but once that they admit their wrongdoings, it's a sign of remorse,
Yeah.
right? It's a sign of sympathy, and it shows that they have too much to lose. They don't want to lose you, basically. And then after that, it's an extended period of constant reassurance, and maybe they have to start drawing lines with other girls or other guys, right? And for the victims, it's important that they rebuild self-confidence, self-worth, right? Either by surrounding yourself with the people who love and respect you, or doing things that make yourself feel worthy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then try to give up investigative questions like, what did I do to deserve this?
Yeah.
And adopt more constructive ones like, what were you thinking? Where were you coming from when you did it? Mm-hmm. Because the former just gonna do nothing more than inflicting more pain.
And
right?
people tend to get defensive if the other person gets, interrogative.
Yeah.
Right.
Nobody wants to get incriminated. Yeah.
And I do think that in order to avoid, these incidents, there are a few things that we can do. Uh-huh. Because, thinking back to the things that we have mentioned before, some people feel unappreciated and that they want to feel alive again when they engage in infidelity. So one thing that we can do is perhaps to make our partner feel heard, appreciated, and not take them for granted. Like, you need to acknowledge their presence and what they contribute to the relationship.
Oh.
And maybe try out new experiences with them. Like, maybe go on a trip to a new place, try different activities that you have never tried together. That may rekindle the fire. Right.
Can I interrupt you with one question?
Sure.
Yeah. So, sometimes I try to send gifts to my girlfriends, right? But she doesn't seem appreciated. Like, I did try, but it did not seem to work out. Why do you think that happened?
Oh, so that was your effort.
Right.
But then it just didn't seem to work.
Right.
Well, that brings me to the next point. Have you guys heard of the concept love languages? So there are five love languages. So let me spell them out for you.
Right.
Quality time. Mm-hmm. You spend quality time with your partner. You give them words of affirmation. Stuff like, I appreciate you, I really miss you, I want you to know that I love you, stuff like that. Or you can give them physical touch. Some people just like to be in close proximity to you and be able to touch you and feel you, right? And the next one is gift giving, which you did. And the last one is acts of service. Oh. What it means is that, like, you would take the person to school or to work and you would do the laundry for them, things like that. So that's how you show your love. And you can even cook for them. So maybe your ex primary love languages, was not gift giving. So what did you think was her love language?
Oh, I think it was, I don't know, but like, we were in a long distant relationship, right? Yeah. She was in Boston and I was in Omaha, right? Mm-hmm. So she asked me to visit her several times, but as an international student, I'm broke, right? I'm always broke. Yeah. Right?
I can
understand.
So
I refused, and I think that sending gifts would suffice, but
sometimes we just we can't like overpower our situations,
right?
And we just need to hope for the best.
So maybe her love language is
quality time.
Quality time
together. She didn't really need the gifts.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah.
Right. If you guys have any stories that could indicate your or your partner's love language, leave a comment.
So if there's a mismatch, you guys should leave a comment and tell us your stories.
Yeah.
Interesting talk we've had.
Indeed.
But I think it's getting a bit draggy. So thank you so much, guys, for sticking around to this point. I think we should wrap this up. So I will leave the honor to you. Do you have any last thoughts on this?
Right. So, well, I know that infidelity scares and scars a lot of people, and not so many are willing to talk about it and come up with so many taboos against it. But I've seen a lot of affairs, right? Some of them most of them are breakups, but many of them are makeups, right? It could be moments of realizations that, you know, the pain, it's beyond tolerance and it's time to put an end to a relationship. Or it could be an alarm bell, right? That reminds people of the stuff that they have been neglecting of, they have been lazy about, or even complacent about, right? So whether you are the victim or the perpetrator, right, confront it and you'll learn.
Own up to it.
And then you'll grow, right? For better or worse. And that's all
Become
that matters.
a better person. Treat that as a learning experience.
Right? That's all that matters, right, guys?
Well, it's so inspiring.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dad, for inviting me.
And thank you for coming here and joining me today as a
It's
co-host.
my pleasure.
Yeah. Hey guys, thank you so much for sticking around to the end of this episode of this series, Let's Damn. We really appreciate it. And also, do let us know which topics you guys want us to cover in future episodes, and also which guests you guys want us to invite. Alright, that's it for today's episode. Until then, take care guys. Bye-bye.